Let's kill that bass head. Alright, let's do this.
I'm on the air, we got this pockets flow. It's me and Tony on the mics, we gotta let you know of current events, little gaming, sprinkle in some entertainment. We stay humble, but our moms still think we're famous. Turn up the bass and baby, maybe let that magic flow. Our spoken word is all the things you really wanna know. Having a good time on the show, T-Bows and Matty G. Tune in and hit subscribe and join us on the FAP.
Welcome everyone to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. I'm your host Anthony Bowes. Today we have a wonderful guest. He's Canadian, which is of course first and foremost that we super love, and it's sometimes rare for us to of course get people from our own area. He is a blues guitarist, a singer-songwriter, and a band leader. He's a Juno Award nominee and winner of the International Blues Challenge for Best Self-Produced CD Award. Ladies and gentlemen, J.W. Jones, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing amazing. Now, of course, I didn't put this in here, but of course, you're part of the Horojo Trio.
Horojo, yeah.
Horojo, sorry, the Horojo Trio. You know, it's how many times I said that before the show, and then of course you go to say it before. Of course, it was kind of one of those unique names, and it's really funny because I think even when I got the edit, even said phonetically how to say it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we've been having a bit of a hard time with it. So yeah.
Yeah. You know, if I'm going to epic fail, it's going to be this moment exactly. So, well, so thanks very much for joining us today. And it's you know, it's really funny. I generally say the royal us, and I'm so used to my co-host Matty G being with me, and he has been on a hiatus as of late, and I got to get used to having to be a royal we every once in a while. So
all right.
So welcome. I heard that not too long ago, actually, you just had an album release here in our hometown of Kingston, Ontario. Go figure. I kind of missed that by a couple days. Would have been nice to get you last week before the launch. But how did that go?
Well, actually, it's because we're talking about two different bands. So you're right that I was there with my band, J.W. Jones, which is separate from Horojo Trio. So yeah, I was there last weekend, but Horojo is going to be back there next Saturday. What's the date? I should know this information probably. Yeah, it's the 9th, Saturday the 9th. So we will be Horojo Trio will be at the RCHA Club in Kingston. So yeah, we're releasing a new record which comes out Friday. This is it. It's called Set the Record, and it's on Stony Plain.
Yes, I was actually listening to some of that earlier today. It's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
I have a tendency to often forget about my love of kind of like jazz and blues and souls, and when you're out on the radio when I'm driving the car, I've got kids, so you listen to more pop upbeat stuff, and it was really nice to listen and kind of reconnect to my love of that music, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. And I guess since you have like your own band and then Horojo, how is balancing for that?
Oh, it's been something, I can say that. I mean, lately all of my eggs have been in the Horojo Trio basket because the album comes out April 1st, so tomorrow, and I've been building CD release parties around it, and both in Ottawa, Toronto, Kingston, London, Waterdown, which is just outside of Hamilton, and then we go out and do a bunch of Western dates in BC and Alberta. So it's been a lot of work getting things, to this point where the album is just about to launch. Music videos and all the posters and all the behind the scenes stuff has been, a lot of work, but it's all worth it. And we're finally, getting to the light at the end of the tunnel. And then, throughout the year, though, when things are not related to releasing an album, the balance isn't that difficult because, both bands have a bit of a different sound and therefore they fit into different events and event types and things like that. So yeah, it's cool. And it's great because I've always kind of wanted to be just a guitar player in a band and not the lead singer and all that stuff, the front man. So I kind of got my wish, with Horojo, because Jeff Rogers, the singer, not only is he singing, but he's playing left-hand bass. So he's the bass player. Yeah. He's playing, keys at the same time with his right hand. Yeah. And he's singing, like that's a lot happening from one human being, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
then
don't even know how he does that. I used to play the piano. I played a bit of guitar, and to do two things, to even just play the
yeah.
guitar and sing
Oh
is
yeah.
a talent on its own. But then to throw in another thing into the mix, like I can't. I guess I don't think I can separate my brain that way.
Honestly, and I mean, there are a lot of players that do it, and they play basic bass lines, on the left side. But Jeff's left hand is better than most bass players. You know what I mean? Like, I'm serious. I'm totally serious. Like, his
Wow.
left hand is deadly. Like, the ideas he comes up with, it's next level. And then Jamie Holmes on drums. He used to tour with my band, and we toured all around the world together. And he's a school jazz drummer, comes from like loves the New Orleans style and all that stuff. So the three of us together really creates an interesting vibe, and it's given me the opportunity to kind of just step back and just play guitar, which is what I really love.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of take a little bit of that additional pressure off, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, have you ever actually been playing the guitar and you're singing, and then all of a sudden you kind of forget what one's doing the other, and you kind of end up sort of like focusing on the singing, and you're like, oh, geez, I missed that chord totally.
Oh, absolutely. Of course,
Yeah,
all the time. I mean,
like
it's kind of a weird thing. Like most people say they forget the lyrics to their own songs before they forget the lyrics to others, because if you grow up listening to like Stevie Wonder or something, you're not going to forget how to sing Signed, Sealed, Delivered. But when it's a song you wrote, you don't hear it in your head because you're not listening to it all the time, so it's a different animal.
That's right. That's right.
But it's a strange thing, man, with performing, because when you perform a lot in a short period of time, like let's say you're on tour or something, the crazy thing happens to me, which is I'll be playing and singing, literally singing and playing, and I'll be thinking about something that has nothing to do with either of those two things. And I'll have this like out of body experience and go, whoa, dude, pay attention. You're playing, you're at a show right now in front of people. Come back to life.
Bring it back
like,
in.
Yeah. So it can go either way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the worst case scenario is you're thinking about something else, and those words start coming out vocally, and you're like, oh shit, make a song out of this really quick.
Yeah, no one wants to hear that song, believe me.
No. I guess it depends on what you're thinking about.
That's right.
Just depends on who's in the front row at that exact moment. You're like,
Yeah.
Keep that to myself.
Yeah.
So it's I always just found it really amazing, and I give you guys a lot of credit for what you do. It is it's not your 9 to 5 job, right? You're all over the place, and you're constantly on the move, and you're at daytimes and night times, and I think it's one of those things of that celebrity lifestyle that most people dream about and love, and then when you're at it, you're just like, if it wasn't for the fact that you truly love what you're doing, most people would not do that. They're just like, oh, I don't want to, I get to a certain age, you don't want to be up after a certain time at night.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel that. I know what you mean. Yeah. I mean, I have a bunch of friends obviously living in Ottawa that work for the government. Right. And they joke about it being the golden handcuffs. They've got the sweet pension and all this stuff, but it's like, they have to work. They have to do their 40 hours a week doing something they probably don't like that much. Whereas some weeks I might work 40 hours, other weeks I might work 70, you know what I mean? But if I calculated my hourly wage, then it would be like really pathetic. But I was saying this to my wife the other day. It's like, we don't think like that. We think big picture, like we're doing what we enjoy. We don't have a boss, we don't have someone that's like clock in, clock out. We create our own schedule, and all those things are totally worth it. And, financially, it's like anything else. If you work really hard and you put everything you can into it, then you'll probably make a decent living. So,
yeah.
So it's all about choices.
Yeah, it's really funny that you mentioned like that hourly thing, because it's true. When you do the things that you love, you truly forget how long it actually takes to do it, and then you if you step back and you're like, well, wait a minute, if I was trying to charge this hourly, and this is how many hours I was, it's like, oh my God, I'm making minimum wage from the 40s.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Exactly. Oh, jeepers. So it's but it's cool. And you guys are really killing it. Like I said, the music sounds fantastic, and the fact that you are so busy is absolutely amazing. And hopefully that doesn't impede on personal and home balance. I don't even know how musicians make home life work.
It's an interesting thing. So I have, I'm surrounded by women here. I've got my wife, 2 stepkids that are 10 and 12, and then my daughter is 3 years old. And honestly, it's an interesting thing because when I'm not on the road, I'm here. I'm here when everyone gets home from school, and it's great that way. And then when I'm on the road, I'm really not here at all, for that time. So it's an interesting balance. But you compare that to some people who work till 6 or 7 or don't come home until just after dinner, and then their kids are going to bed an hour later. That's worse. So it's really depends on how you look at it. And it's interesting because my daughter Nixon was born January 1st, 2019. So for 2019, I basically was taking a year to like just stay at home, not do any long tours, anything like that. Mm-hmm. And then of course, as soon as 2020 hits, the pandemic hits, and now I'm stuck at home, can't go anywhere. And then last fall, I was about to go out for 5 weeks with my band across North America. And I kept looking at my daughter's face going like, oh, how am I going to do this? Like, I don't want to leave, I just want to stay here with her, and my wife and the girls. And I just want to do that. And then like, I was sad leaving. I was so sad, like going on tour. And then I played one show and I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I love this. And then it was like, okay, so now I know what it is. It's balance. I need both to really, truly be happy, because my whole life has been centered around playing music and performing live. And that really is a passion for me. And it took that, moment to really realize, oh yeah, you still love this. This is your thing, man. Like, of course. Yeah. So yeah, it's good.
I can imagine that that's difficult in so many ways, though. I mean, I have a blended family as well, and it's not easy at the best of times. And then to imagine, turn around and you're gone for X number of weeks at a time, and I got to tell you that's really a true sign of love right there. When she puts up with it and still greets you with a smile when she sees you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Wait, do you mean my wife or my daughter?
Well, both actually.
No, my wife is incredible. She's like from day one. I said, like, are you sure you can sign up for this? Like, this is not a normal lifestyle, and she said, if you weren't doing that, then I wouldn't be interested. This is a part of it. This is what makes you you.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other thing is, and anyone who's been locked down throughout COVID with their partner knows, it's not a bad thing to be away from each other. It's a good thing. It's totally healthy. And if you can have that, opportunity to miss each other, then it's much better than, being all cagey and stuck in the same house, quarantining together for months or years on end. That's it's been. 100%. So yeah,
it was a big shift for me to start working from home. Actually, it was quite an interesting process. At first, you're thinking, "Oh my God, this is amazing! I'm saving so much time and gas and everything." And then after a couple of years, you realize, I feel like I'm stuck in a box, and I'm seeing the same walls and the same people, and it could drive you literally crazy. And then on top of that, when kids were staying home to do homeschooling, and you became a parent and teacher, and
while trying to work,
good
luck with that.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course, you lose that transition time from driving home from work, so that you can shake off a crappy day and see your family and not be crazy. So that's always interesting. And I definitely struggled with it. My family, I think, struggled with it. But it's good now. And, you truly come right now, my work is the question of like, well, who wants to actually come back to work? And everybody's like, no. This works. This is a better life mix. Like that work-life balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know what that's like. It's again, blended families and work balance. It's a big difference. It's a lifestyle that some people would not choose, and there's another time where it just works super well for people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. How are you finding the Canadian music market lately? Is it? I know a lot of artists that we've had on the show, went through that big struggle with the pandemic. Things are opening up. Things are kind of getting better. You mentioned you're heading out to BC. BC's got, of course, that big music industry that is starting to boom again. How are you finding it personally?
Well, I think things are coming back. I mean, if I can be honest, like in terms of the media, I wish the media would just calm down on the COVID stuff, because we all know that, of course, there's going to be a bit more of another, spike in cases and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like we're all at the point now where, come on, if you're vaccinated and you're being as careful as you can, we still have to get back to normal, and I'm looking at a weekend full of dates in Ottawa, Toronto, London. And then I'm seeing news articles pop up with like the sixth wave. Like, it's like, come on, like, are we still talking about this? Like, we've done everything we can do. Now it's up to individuals to decide, do they want to go out or do they want to stay home? Whatever.
That's right.
But the fear is what's causing, you know, a lot of the problems. You know, it's funny because my 5-week tour I was talking about, I did that right before Omicron hit. So it was like this weird lull where it was like, okay, I think everything's okay now. Everything's going to be okay. And we were touring through, you know, places like California and Texas and places where there were no mask mandates whatsoever. And we were the only ones wearing masks, you know, and somehow we went the whole tour and none of us got sick. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, what is the scene like? Well, the scene is still full of ticket buyers that are a little bit uncertain. And that's really what's causing the problems now, you know, and I hope we can all get past that as soon as possible, but I just don't know when that's going to be. You know, I thought it was over and then it's like, well, and we're kind of still here. So now it's an individual choice, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mark Boza saying you're a heck of a guitar player, and that's a big thing for Mark. He's a well versed in the guitar himself.
Oh, nice, thank you.
So that's
sweet.
Amazing.
Oh, I can see it there popped up. It's very small on my screen. I can't read it, but I see that there's something there.
So you know, how did that feel when you're going to a lot of places where masks aren't mandated at that time? Like, was there a little bit of a panic on you guys? You're like, why isn't anybody wearing a mask?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our first show was in Lincoln, Nebraska, and it's a very small club. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday night. And so I purchased N95 masks for the band, and I said, we're wearing these things from the minute we walk in until the minute we leave, other than when we're performing. That's it. We're all going to wear them. We have to be careful, you know? And so we did that. And man, those things are so hot. It's painful. And you're lugging gear in and out past people who are not wearing masks, and everyone's looking at you like you're from another planet. It's like, oh, they're Canadian. Ha ha ha. You know? So we did that for the first couple of gigs. And then we just went back to our cloth masks, and we were the only ones. And, you know, we played one place in Texas where, I overheard someone at the bar go, they're not going to wear those on stage, are they? You know, and I was like, okay, like if everyone just respects everyone else and just like let everyone do whatever they want, then everything will just be fine, you know?
Exactly.
But yeah, it was a little off-putting, and you know, sometimes people were coming really close to us and speaking loudly, and you can feel their spit going into your eyeballs, and you're going, I'm getting COVID right now. This is happening. So, but you know, we all somehow stayed healthy. You know, we did wear masks and did our best, and we stayed healthy. So, you know,
that's good. Amazing.
I don't even know anymore. You know, it's like, no one knows, everyone knows everything / nothing about COVID, and everyone's got an opinion, and it's kind of gotten to the point where it's like, no one wants to talk about this anymore. Like, there's no new information. Let's just, please, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, as for getting back to normal, I'd be very surprised if there ever is such thing as a normal anymore. There's a new normal. You know, even here in Kingston, when they said, you know, oh, you don't really need to wear masks anymore. I find that I still walk to the building and I stop and I'm like, no, I'm going to put it on. I know I don't have to, but what's a little bit longer going to hurt?
Yeah. I feel the same way. I like on breaks, you know, for us selling merchandise and stuff like that. Like, I don't need to be breathing in anyone's air, you know?
Right.
And
so, exactly. If anything, it just kind of reminds you how disgusting
people
can be sometimes.
And I'm all for fist pumps. Like, I think handshakes should have been gone a long time ago. I mean, forget the tradition. What is the great benefit of shaking someone's hand versus just a fist pump and eye contact? Like, come on.
Exactly. You know, and that's even something that took me a little while to get used to. I remember I met Will Wheaton and I went to shake his hand, and he you know, it's that awkward moment where he goes to give a fist bump and you got the hand out, and then you both kind of alternate back and forth, and then you're just like, you know, fist bump is fine. You know, but I would imagine when you come in contact, and it just maybe because I'm old school, but when you come in contact with so many people, I'd imagine it kind of gets gross shaking people's hands after a while, right? Because I mean, you don't, up until really COVID, you didn't really think about what people were doing with their hands, and then now. I remember, like, even when my daughter was young, you're pushing the grocery cart and their mouth touches the grocery cart handle, and you're like, oh my God. And then that's the moment where you're just like, Oh yeah, that's right. People are disgusting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We love you, but
Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So, and then there's nothing worse than that sweaty, clammy handshake. So it's so much better to have that fist bump. Yep.
And as a guitar player, it happens to me at least once a year where someone, whether they are doing it on purpose to show their manliness or what, but every now and then you get a really hard handshake. It's like unnecessarily hard. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, whoa, take it easy. I need that hand.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Like that's my bread and butter. Like he's up there.
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah,
Yeah.
very
Exactly.
odd.
It's like I'll take the wuss handshake any
Oh,
day
yeah.
if that's the case,
Yes.
And I came from that generation where everybody tried to give that always one up the handshake, and I just like, you know what? I don't need to do
No.
that.
If you don't need to do that, I mean, if you need to do that, there are probably other things going on there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's other people you need to talk to before you can go in and talk to them. So
That's right.
Excellent. All right, so let's jump into the second part of the show where I've got 20 quick questions. These are just to get to know you a little bit better. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just kind of all in good fun and to get to know you. We're going to start this off with what made-up word would you register into the English language?
Awesomer.
Awesomer. Okay, so like it's got to be better than awesome.
Yeah, it's awesomer. It's more like awesomer than yours. I don't know.
Right? Exactly. You know what? If anything, I'd be more interested in the person who tries to one up your word.
Yeah.
Awesomer.
I think underwhelmed should be used more often as well. But
that's true. Yeah, I like that one. What's the scariest dream you've ever
had? Man, when I had a dog, I had a big Samoyed, and he was a great dog, but he used to be an escape artist. So I'd constantly have dreams of him running away or watching him get hit by cars. And that was like the worst thing. And it messed with me for like years and years, even after I had him. So that's on the list, like total panic.
It really makes you wonder about what kind of relationship we have with our pets. You know, like when you go in and like, I have a rescue from the Dominican Republic, and she is a fantastic dog, but she's a runner. So the moment you open the door, if that dog can get out, she will. Oh, yeah. And I could just think people coming into the house like, what kind of relationship? Like, is this dog actually a pet or a captive? If that dog wants to get out so bad, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, exactly. If you could have a superpower, which one would you choose?
Oh man, that's a good one. Teleporting for sure.
I like that one. Yeah, that's so many people go for flight, and I get it. Like, yeah, everybody wants to fly. It's kind of cool, especially if you don't mind heights, but that's still longer than it is to teleport.
Oh, yeah. Teleport is the fastest. I wish I could teleport. Boom. I mean, doing the long hours that we do driving and stuff, teleporting is something we talk about on a regular basis.
Just imagine, even just for family, you could literally wait till the kids go to bed and then just step out and like be right there at the club.
Yeah.
Right. So that would be a good one, especially for bands.
Yeah.
What would be your earliest childhood memory?
It's a funny thing about childhood memories, isn't it? Because you don't know if it's a memory or a picture that you've seen of yourself in the situation. So I always picture, this is from a picture, but I feel like it's a memory. And it's like, I had this orange cat named Charlie, and he was up on top of this big wooden fence, and my hand is reaching up, and I was pretty young. I was probably 2 or 3 years old, so that's what comes to me when I think of earliest memory. But other than that, man, that's a tough one.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I often have memories, but I actually wonder if it's like an implanted memory, if it's something that my parents had said, "Oh, you've done this." Totally. But I don't ever remember doing it, but I must have if they said I did it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Is it a memory or is it not?
Yeah,
it's true. What makes you happiest?
What makes me happiest? Wow. I mean, there are a lot of things that make me happy. Each day I'm probably happiest when I'm saying goodnight to my daughter, because it's like the most calm, relaxed time where like everything's in perspective, and I'm like, everything's good in the world. This is beautiful. This is great. I feel like that's one of the happiest moments I have on a daily basis. But what makes me happiest is I'm really one of these, I need like security in my life. So if everything is like, secure and good, then I'm happy. That's pretty much what it takes for me.
Yeah. It's funny what you mentioned about putting your daughter to bed and stuff, because that's generally the happiest moment for me, because it's the quietest.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's quiet now.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
I forgot what quiet feels like. Yeah. If you could learn a foreign language, which one would you choose?
Definitely Spanish, because it would be so useful. That would be it. I grew up with the Greek guys, and so I know all the bad Greek words. And so every time I run into someone that speaks Greek, I'll just rattle off a couple lines and make them laugh. But I don't know how to put together any normal sentences. So
Yeah.
it's not very helpful.
I went down to Mexico, and I was trying to learn a little Spanish before I went down, and my wife was just like, "That's ridiculous. You don't need to learn that. It'll be fine."
Yeah.
And then it turned out we went to an area of Mexico where there wasn't actually a lot of English-speaking people, so it actually came in really handy, at least to be able to order food. So
Yeah, exactly.
You never know. Yeah. What decade would you most likely like to live in?
Oh,
Even
definitely.
if it wasn't one.
Definitely the 50s, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you say live in, I would like to be like 21 in 1950.
Yes. You don't want to go back when you're like 50 or something. And
you're
like,
exactly.
I can't even enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, the music and the time, that would be incredible just to experience that, the music, the cars, everything was just so cool in the 50s. Like, wow. Yeah. That 100%.
I even like the fashion, like you just don't see people wearing like the overcoats and the hats and like there's just something classy about that.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
I super love that.
Yeah.
Here's a life one. Are you a toilet paper over the roll or under the roll kind of
over
person?
the roll?
Over the roll.
Of course.
Okay.
It's like, what kind of psychopaths the other way? Like, I don't understand. And you know what's funny about this is my wife knows the way that I do it, but she cares so little that every now and then it goes the other way. And I know she's not messing with me, but I still flip it around. I'm flipping that around. It's not going to stay like that. No.
Do you have a reason?
Do I have a reason? I mean, it's right there. It's closer. It's closer to you. It's closer. I mean, why would you want to reach around and wonder how much is there? It's right there. It's got to be over. What are the stats on this? You must have stats on this. Come on.
You know what? It's building up that it's about 75% of people prefer it over from the people.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, then we know.
I must be the psychopath. I do like it preferred under, but that's for having a cat for so many years.
Oh, okay. See, that's a very fair reason. Then they do this, and it just goes. Yeah, I get that.
That's right. And so it wasn't really a preference. It was more of an ease of trying to put it back together when a cat and or child starts trying to pull on it, and you're not going to re-roll it the other way. So
that's the first time I've heard a good reason for that. So yes, excellent. I'm on your side.
A fun fact for you, though. Do you know that the original patent for the toilet paper shows it going over the top, though?
Well, there you go.
So by definition, you are doing it the right way.
Perfect. Thank you.
So you could always throw that back at your wife and say, this is the proper instructions for toilet papers.
She doesn't care. That's the thing. She has no preference.
That's right. Yeah.
If
anything, this is like one of those moot points in your life that she's probably looking at you like, why are you so passionate about this?
Yeah. This is not important.
What's the first movie that ever made you cry?
My mom tells me it's E.T.
Oh.
So what year did E.T. come out? Like 84, 85, maybe something like that. So it would have been 4 or 5. And she said, when I cried at E.T., she knew that I was human. Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
E.T. scared the living shit out of me.
Oh, really?
I was the one child, I think, that I look back and I still like shudder when I think of E.T. E.T. actually caused me 12 years of nightmares. And it was the same reoccurring nightmare for 12 years.
And what was that nightmare?
And
he had the tubes all hooked up. And
no, like I walked up into an old bedroom that I in an old house I used to live in, and the moon's casting, silver beams into the room, and then out steps this like tiny little ET about this big.
Oh.
And then thousands of other little ETs step out behind it, and they all run at me and try biting my skin.
Oh,
and then I would fall down the stairs, and then I would wake up, and then eventually I had the same dream, and I woke up, and there was a shotgun, and I started blowing them all away, and then I never had the dream again. So,
really?
Yeah.
You got to kill them all in one of your dreams?
Yes.
Wow, that's a solution and a half.
And
wow. Was that after therapy or before?
I never even brought that up with a therapist. I felt like there would be so many
things.
I just felt like that was just conquering a childhood fear, and it was all good. So,
All right. Wow. Mini ETs. That is slightly terrifying for sure.
yeah. So the segue into that question, the next question is, do you believe in aliens?
No, I don't. I'm just so boring that I don't. There's a clip of Dan Aykroyd, friend of mine, who I'm sure you've known from being around Kingston. There's a clip of him on TV talking about aliens, and he's fully serious about seeing them when he was younger, and he's 100% believes that there are aliens, and he'll explain it to you and in detail. So I know there are people that
I'd love to talk to him about that.
Do it next time you see him. There you go. He's around,
It's so interesting. You and Robert Wall both do not believe in aliens.
All right.
That the statistic on that is about 99% of people do. Not necessarily
really?
Little green, not necessarily little green men, but they believe that we're not the only ones in the galaxy.
Well, I mean, I believe we're not the only living thing, but in terms of like, what is the alien? What does it look like? Are we talking about something?
Like it could be gaseous for all we know, but at least there's got to be something else.
I mean, I believe in life for sure on other planets. I believe that's. I mean, it makes sense that there might be, but
then by definition, you could technically believe in aliens. It's still an alien life form.
Okay, put me half and half on that then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
undecided.
You don't want to be in the Robert Wall department. I'm kidding, Robert. I'm kidding. I still would rip on him for that. So, how would you spend $100 million?
Like, and you have to spend it all? You have to spend $100 million. Is it, what would you do if you got $100 million, or is it how would you spend $100 million? Very different.
You know what? You're the first person to ever ask. People instantly jumped into my house. I'm gonna, give it to people, and But I mean, I guess, would you just save it? What would you?
I'm not giving it to anyone. That's for sure. No, nobody. No, I'm just kidding. Well, it's an interesting question. I mean, it's funny because my wife and I have been talking about retirement lately and what that looks like. And, all of our friends work for the government. And they have these beautiful packages, and we're not going to be like that, but we're living now. And that's like on a very low scale compared to your $100 million question.
That would definitely take you out of retirement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My goal for any of this stuff is, it wouldn't be to buy another house. It wouldn't be all that stuff. It's just to be able to do anything you want whenever you want. So if I want to go see Jimmy Vaughn tonight in Austin, Texas, then I'm just getting my jet and I'm going there. You know what I mean? Like, that would be the dream to me, is to be able to hang out with friends all over the world whenever you want. That would be what it's all about. But I'm a little bit odd when it comes to money stuff. Like, I don't have a dream car specifically, or a dream house. Like, I live in a decent house and I drive a Suburban, and those things work for me. I'm boring. I'm like, a lot of musicians, they would buy all these guitars and amps. It's like, I have a couple good guitars, a couple good amps. So that's pretty much, I'm happy with those things, super boring.
I know what it's like. I mean, I don't really go really wanting for anything, Like, it gets to a point where, like, I even look at cars and I see some really nice cars, and I'm like, well, that's a really nice car, but it's just a car. Like, I mean, the purpose to me of a car is just to get you to point A to point B, not to have everybody look at your car and say, ooh, that's a nice car. Like, okay, thanks. Like, so.
It's a mindset too thing. It's a mindset because I had a conversation the other day that people who are, have lower income, they think that people who are rich are either lucky or they have it from the family, that they're born into that kind of money. And then people who are middle class or middle of the road income wise, they think that you have to work really hard to become a millionaire, And then millionaires know that their goal is just to have their money working for them and other things happening for their money. And then billionaires, it's like, it's all relative, right? But when you actually think about what you want, like, I know a couple of billionaires. Like, I know these guys. Are they the happiest people in the world? Probably not. You know what I mean? I mean, statistically, after you pass the $70,000 a year mark, your happiness level starts to decline.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think about that kind of stuff all the time, because when you ask this question about $100 million, it's like, well, I'd probably end up miserable because people would all be knocking on my door asking for money. You know what I mean? And it's like, the things I like in life are just they don't cost a lot of money, you know, and it's a mindset thing. And I'm actually very happy to be there, you know?
Yeah. You know, if I ever won a lot of money, like I mean, a ridiculous amount of money, I wouldn't want anybody to know.
Exactly.
Like, not even my family. It's not because I worry about my family like asking for money. It's just I don't want the stress of money. Like I just want to be like, okay, I have it.
Yeah.
And then if you see someone in need, like you have no problem saying, "Hey, I can help you out if you like."
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
But you know, like I'm definitely like I would still probably be driving my Nissan and not worried about it. You know, maybe a bigger Nissan, but you know,
maybe
but I
a
definitely
newer
wouldn't
Nissan.
Yeah, exactly. But I wouldn't be going out and buying Corvettes or whatever Lamborghinis.
It would be tempting though, wouldn't it? Now that we start talking about it, it's like, well, I mean, there's room in the driveway. I could have a fancy car and then just jump in that one every now and then. You know, why not?
It's true, but you know, at the same time, I mean, you've driven on Kingston streets. You know what that's like, right?
That's right. Yeah.
You know, my daughter told me something really funny the other day. She said, in England they drive on the left. In Canada, you drive on what's left.
So. I like that. That's good.
Exactly.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So potholes have been absolutely astronomical here in Kingston lately. So anybody who has a Lamborghini, like, first of all, if you've got the money to afford that car, you have to have the money to repair that car.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Right? And
exactly.
And I saw someone driving a Diablo downtown Kingston. I think it was last year, and they hit a pothole, and just the sparks and everything that happened. I was just like, internally, I was like, oh my God, I feel sick just looking at it. And then externally, I'm just like, nah, if you can afford that, that's nothing to you. So.
Yeah. You signed up for this.
That's right. Don't be the person who buys a car and then is worried about everybody touching, nicking, bumping your car. Like I can't even drive to a Walmart and worry about my Nissan getting bumped because every time I come out, I got a new dent in the door.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, oh, what the hell? Like, even if I park like at the back of the parking lot, I come out and there's a new dent on my car. So I just stopped raging out about it. Like it used to be crazy, and then I'm just like, like this isn't even a fancy car. Like, come on.
I know.
So, are you left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
I figured most people, especially in the music industry, are. But I mean, the weirdest thing is I'm left-handed, and trying a left-handed guitar is the most awkward thing in the world.
Oh, really? Interesting.
It feels so foreign. Like it's like, you know, I would imagine like a prostate exam. So it's like it's a bit weird.
But it's weird because I bat right, but I slap shot left, and I would golf left. So there's a lot of this weird right left stuff going on. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but there it is.
A little bit of ambidextrous in there, obviously. And, sports, they say, is the true tell of what hand you are. And I throw that all to the wind, you know. So I'm always messing up with that thing. What gets on your nerves?
Oh, so many things. Where would you like to start?
What's the number one thing that gets on your nerves?
The number one thing that gets on my nerves is probably something about people not replying to messages or emails or anything. Like in my world, with the booking world, I ended up getting an email tracker so that when I email venues, I know if they are in fact opening the email and don't want to book me, or if they're never getting the email at all. You know what I mean? So, but or you know, a friend of mine and I talk about this all the time with. Back when we were dating, it's like you ask someone 2 questions and they only answer one of them. And it's like, why?
That's
just
weird.
You see that there are 2 questions there, right? Like just answer all of the questions, really.
I feel like
I would answer all the questions.
Yeah. No, I would be totally skeptical if you didn't answer the one question. Like I think that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
Like,
But even if it's something simple, it's like, are you
married?
Yeah, exactly.
No, seriously, that is something you have to answer. Like that'd be the first question.
Yes. Are you married?
That's right. Never think about asking that one until after the fact, right?
That's right. It's always too late.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the last thing you did just for yourself? And making food doesn't count.
Just for myself and making food doesn't count. Wow. I don't do a lot of things. I mean, you know, when you're in a family, you have a family, you don't do a lot of things for yourself. The self gets lost. I mean, it's a weird thing though, because I mean, I'm not the average guy that goes to their 9 to 5 job and possibly don't like it. So when I think about what do I do for myself, you know what I mean? Like my whole career is for myself. You know what I mean? It's like I get to play the guitar. What a joke. This is ridiculous. I play guitar.
True. Yeah.
So it's already
like
for
athletes,
myself.
right? Like hockey players love to play hockey and they're getting paid astronomical amounts of money for that. Like, how can you say you don't like your job? But that, I don't think that counts. I don't think you can say that's like, and I ask this of celebrities all the time because people actually forget about themselves. And especially as a parent, you really do forget to do something for yourself occasionally.
Yeah.
So even if you don't do something for yourself, hopefully this will be like, hey, I need to do something for myself.
Yeah. Well, pre-COVID, I started to do an annual pilgrimage. I did it twice, and I was hoping to do it more times, down to Austin. So I would just fly down there and watch Jimmy Vaughn in a club for 2 nights and then fly home. And that was truly for myself because it's like, I mean, it's a flight ticket. It's, all the Ubering and staying at a friend's place, all that kind of stuff. And on a weekend where you could be making money with your own band, stuff like that. So I felt like was truly for myself. And my wife was on board. She's like, oh yeah, you totally need to do that. It's fantastic. Do that. So I did that twice, and it's something I'd like to continue to do because it's like, that's where I want to be, in Texas, eating barbecue and watching Jimmy Vaughn and hanging out with him on the break. And, that's the dream right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You haven't had good barbecue until you've had ribs from Texas.
Oh,
they do the best ribs ever.
It's funny talking to Canadians about barbecue because, like, even when they think they know ribs, they think they know pulled pork, it's like, yeah, what's that? You smoked it in your smoker? Oh, that's nice. That's really cute that you think that that's good. And it's like, you're not even in the ballpark of American barbecue. Like, forget about it. And
It's
they don't
an art
know.
in itself. It truly
absolutely.
Is. When you have American barbecue, oh my God, it's better than any restaurant you can go to up here in Canada.
Absolutely. Yeah. People go to Baton Rouge and places like that. They're like, the ribs there are amazing. It's like, I wouldn't touch those things. You can pay me to eat those things. I'd rather eat the chicken fingers, than to try to order barbecue from one of these chain restaurants. It's like, no. It's the funny thing about it is, like, we talk about it because we know, but if you don't know, you really actually don't know. And you can't know until you try it. And then you're like, oh, wow. And plus in the US, there's the Texas barbecue, but then there's the Memphis barbecue, but then there's the Carolinas, like there are so many different styles and sauces, and
there's so much flavor out there that people haven't even begun to experience yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's really funny that you mentioned Baton Rouge, because before I had that, I used to actually enjoy going to Baton Rouge, and I was just like, oh, their baby back ribs are quite nice. Like, it's melt off the bone, and they started at like 8 o'clock in the morning kind of thing, and they don't serve until 5 or 6.
Right.
But you're right. There's still no comparison between them. So
no.
It's still good for Canada. But
listen to us snobs, eh?
Right. Oh, geez, I feel like, oh my God, I have become a snob. Are you an Android? Oh, well, I guess I know this one, but normally I do ask the question: are you an iPhone or Android person?
I'm an iPhone guy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's ease of use.
Yes,
I was an advocate for Android for the longest time until I got the iPhone 11, and I was just like, oh my God, they've made this so much better. It's okay. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I've never had any problems. I mean, people talk about their phones dying on them and stuff. I think I'm on my 4th iPhone maybe, and it's like, it's amazing. Yeah.
My first iPhone was a 4S, and that was back when you used to have to tether it to your computer to do music and stuff.
Yeah,
and that was the biggest nightmare of life. That's what put me off iPhone was because I wanted to put songs on, and then you go to sync to your computer, and then in the meantime it erased half your songs because it wasn't.
They weren't the same on. Yeah, I know. Ridiculous.
That was Apple's biggest downfall at the time. But
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you do when you can't fall asleep?
Man, I'm like the best sleeper. As soon as I hit the pillow and decide it's time to go to bed, I'm sleeping immediately. It has happened like maybe a couple times a year. I'll just be going wild. I'll just have to get up and, I don't know, I'd probably just go to the kitchen and scroll my phone and eat some, I don't know, snacks.
Yeah. I'm generally the same way. In fact, it really irritates my wife that I can literally just put my head down on the pillow and fall asleep. Instantly fast. But for the first time in a long time, now I'm not the best sleeper throughout the night, but I can go to sleep really fast.
Okay.
But for the first time in a long time, the other day, I was up till like 3:30 in the morning. I just could not sleep,
Right.
and of course, I'm so stubborn about going to sleep that I would just lie there, and I'm like, no, it's gonna happen. I can do this any minute now.
Yeah.
Why is this not happening? So,
Yeah.
no. And then you get really frustrated, especially for someone who's a good sleeper.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're like, why is this happening?
That's right. What's the best thing you've ever eaten? Although we may have gone through this now.
Best thing I've ever eaten. Well, I mean, yeah, I do like the barbecue stuff in the U.S. Greek food is my favorite food. So,
Okay.
the right Greek potatoes are like as good as it gets to me.
Interesting.
Right up there would be maple syrup. Like, I know it's a Canadian thing to say, but it's literally perfection. I mean, it's like, it is just the best thing in the world. I think it's the best flavor like in the world.
It is.
Period.
Yeah. Have you had rye cask maple syrup?
Oh,
so
interesting.
Made in whiskey barrels and stuff.
I don't think I have.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
It's and there's even an alcohol kind of content to it. It's very low, but it is absolutely amazing.
That sounds awesome.
So you can get it from the Picton area if you're ever.
Oh, really? There. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
All
I
right.
highly recommend it. 2 more questions. Oh yeah, okay. I haven't done this one in a long time. Have you ever had a crush on a TV or movie character? And if so, who?
Character or the actors?
It's interchangeable. Whichever.
Interesting. I mean, definitely the answer is yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But
sometimes it's a character, right? I mean, Matty G, who is normally here, I still think it's the funniest thing in the world. His response was Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, yes, I'm with you on that. Okay, well, 2 things. I'll pick 2, and they're kind of unlikely people because, like, I mean, they're not like the hottest celebrities or anything. They're just like, for some reason. So one of them was Candace Cameron from Full House.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a dream about her, and I woke up and I was in love with her. And like, it didn't matter. Like, I could see her on TV and she's all right. But like, I was madly in love with her. Like, we had some kind of relationship in my dream. And then I woke up and like, it was all gone. And it's like, so there's always been totally sad, like gutted. Yeah. Like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. So that's a very odd one. And she's cute. Who's she married to? A hockey player?
Something like that. I think she went a little crazy.
Beret or something. Yeah. She went crazy? Oh, yeah?
I think she did for a little bit, yeah.
Okay. What kind of crazy?
I think it was very religious crazy. Not like Kirk Cameron religious crazy, but I think it was a little crazy for a bit.
Interesting. Okay, so she's one of them. And the other was back in the Dawson's Creek days, Katie Holmes. I was in love with Katie Holmes. Joey. She was Joey.
Yeah, that's true.
It's funny. I just saw her in a movie with Will Smith. No, what was it? I saw a movie the other day with her in it, and she's changed completely. And I prefer the other Joey. But anyway.
Younger Katie. Was better.
Younger Katie was cuter. But I was young at the time, too, just to make sure.
Exactly. Not to make it weird or anything.
It wasn't, it's not weird. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And the last question I've got for you today is, what's the favorite podcast you've been on in the last 24 hours?
Freaking awesome podcast.
Right on.
Winning. And that's crazy because I've done 3 or 4 of these in the last 24 hours.
Oh, it's fantastic. Even better now when we get that. So that's fantastic. So I don't always expect that answer. I mean, if it's an honest answer, that's even better. But it's I definitely do feel like it's a wedding when that happens. So. Excellent, Gina. I can't thank you enough for spending some time out of your day and coming on the show. And again, do you want to do a quick pitch of the album, where people can get it? And
absolutely. Go to horojotrio.com. So that's HOROJO Trio. This is the album. It's called Set the Record. And that's based on a song. It's not that we're trying to set any Olympic records or anything like that. And it's honestly, it's a great album, and we're really, really proud of it. It's on Stony Plain Records, which is kind of a cool story in itself. We got signed the day before we were going to sign with an American company. I wrote to Stony Plain and said, hey, like, this is the last chance. Like, if you actually have any interest in this at all, they hadn't even replied. If you have any interest in this thing that you haven't talked to me about, let me know now. And then they did, and they said, we want it, and here's the offer. I was like, wow, okay. And it's, it's great to be with a Canadian company too. So, Yeah, you got to hear the singer, Jeff Rogers. This guy is like, I mean, people talk about singers like, oh, he's the best in the city, he's the best in the province, the country, whatever. Jeff Rogers is one of the best singers on the planet, period. And he's one of the best singers you will have ever heard. This isn't like something where the guy's like, oh, he's a pretty good singer. No, this is like, he's ridiculous. And he just wakes up sounding like that. So I'm really excited for everyone to hear him. And he's the lead singer of the band. And then Jamie Holmes on drums, incredible drummer. I play guitar, the least exciting part of the band. But the album's really good, 100% original material. And you can find it through our website or through Stony Plains website. And come see us on the road and on the socials at Horojo Trio. And that's it. That's the pitch.
Amazing. And for anybody in the Kingston area who's listening, of course, as JW mentioned, you're going to be back on the 6th.
On the, not the 6th, 9th. The 9th. That's
9th,
it. The
9th of April.
Yes.
So make sure you stop by the RCHA Club and check them out and let them know that we say hi. I mean, heck, if I'm not doing anything, I'm definitely going to try to come down.
Yeah,
because,
please do.
I've heard the album. It's absolutely fantastic. And if people do want to help you guys set a Guinness Book World Record for sales, that would be fantastic too.
It would be. And get your tickets in advance. And actually, general message to any music fans who love any kind of music or bands, get your tickets in advance. Like, don't wait until the day before, a couple of days before, the week of. Please get your tickets in advance. It helps us, gives us the chance to either add a second show if it sells out or not spend all the advertising money that it would take to sell it out earlier. So get your tickets in advance. And to this as well, you can do that through the Kingston Blues Society website too.
That's fantastic advice. A lot of people have tendency to forget about that, and it's true. When people want to put on a second concert, or for the people who end up missing the tickets, right, they didn't realize. Well, had you, first of all, if you'd bought in advance, or other people had bought in advance, you may have still been able to get into that show because you may not have lost out. Period.
Yeah, exactly.
To put a second one, so.
That's right.
Right on. Excellent. Well, again, JW, thank you very much for being on the show. We'd love to circle back around with you and have you back again at some point.
We'd love to,
That'd be great. And say hi to the guys. And
Thanks so much for having me. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye. Take care.